All right, this is a follow-up to that lesson that I did on that issue of flipping, casting, and that causing you to lift up out of your posture. So if you have not yet seen that video, this is 2 of 2. Go watch 1 of 2. I'll put the link in the description below, and then in that video, I'll link right back to this one. But you really should watch that one. A lot of people really liked the information in that video, and it clarified some things about what we talked about in that video. I've got a tool that I'll get to in just a second here, but we talked about how what's going on there is when you flip or cast, what you have to do is you have to clear space for the club to not hit the ground. One of the things we talked about was using an alignment stick and dragging it through impact, right? To get that feeling of the hands leading, that makes me stay much more down in my posture, makes me get those hips going a little bit more through impact, makes a lot of great things happen that you want to have happen in your swing. And I think that video made a lot of sense for people. I wanted to give you one quick tool. I was just thinking about this, so I brought this out with me. This is a 3/4 inch piece of PVC, and this is a great way to work on what we've been talking about with this. You grip it about 16, 18 inches down, and this helps you lead with the hands through impact. And I call this the rib cracker drill. You don't want to hit yourself right here. And this 3/4 inch piece of PVC. The other thing that it's so great for is that it helps, because it's long, it helps you kind of have that pattern of a little bit more around the body, kind of shallower swing motion overall, which most players can benefit from. But the big thing that I wanted to talk to you about with this, and I've been thinking about this since I shot that video, and I got so much feedback. My grip's wet now. I got so much feedback. Let me dry it off real quick here. I got so much great feedback on that video, but it occurred to me that there's one really important piece that we really need to talk about, and that is the release of the golf club, okay? So when you are holding that angle longer through impact, it's going to tend to make your club face, let me slap this on here so you can see this, but when you are leading with the hands through impact, that face is going to tend to come through open because you don't have that release of the toe of the club past the heel of the club there, right? So if you are just working on that lag and just working on the hands getting ahead with something like dragging that alignment stick through impact or the piece of PVC, what's going to end up happening here is you are going to come through impact and you're going to be holding that angle better, but whoosh, for right? I think I went way right. But so that is something to really be aware of with that, is that, I gotta grab my tea here. We've got to be conscious about adding in the release of the club, okay? And the way that I like to see you do this is to work on, I like to see you alternate between the two, okay? So the first thing you're gonna do is something like the PVC or the alignment stick under the grip of the club, whatever it is, but you're gonna do this drill right here where if you release it, you're gonna crack your ribs right here. We're trying to not make this motion, no flipping motion at all. This really exaggerates that speed and the leading with the hands, right? Extreme exaggeration of those things through impact. If I go slow, it's gonna look something like this, right? But it exaggerates those feelings of those things. And of course, you can see I don't lift up when I do that, right? I stay down in my posture when I exaggerate that lag of the club like that. But as I just mentioned there and demonstrated, that club face is then going to be open. So you have to alternate in the release of the club, okay? You've got to alternate in the whipping of the toe of the club past the heel of the club. But you still want to try to retain some of the feelings that you had with that, right? So now I'm trying to still feel those same feelings, but now I'm trying to go really in slow motion, that is really whipping that toe past the heel of the club, almost exaggerating it a little bit to where that club is in a toe down position. Here's a neat way to think about this that I really like. And you just put an alignment stick right down here. And if you want to know, what does it feel like to really release the club, to whip the toe past the heel of the club so when you come through impact, at this point in the swing right here, I want you to picture that club face being square as if you were going to hit a ball directly that way. Okay, that's just kind of a nice way to visualize this. So you're going to go toe past the heel, boom, right there. I'm trying to hit the ball back that way. That's how much I want to exaggerate that release of the toe of the club past the heel of the club. And then when you get that going, now you're starting to incorporate not only the feelings of lag, hip rotation, staying down, but now you can start to get that toe of the club whipping past the heel of the club like we want to. So hopefully we'll we'll get a little bit of that. Not so much of a shot that goes way to the right now, and we're going to exaggerate that whipping of the toe of the club past the heel of the club. And it's kind of, it's the evening now. I don't usually come shoot video in the evening, so it's kind of dark and a little bit hard to see the golf ball. I hope I'll be able to show ball flight when we do this, but that's the feeling. Then we go back, we alternate. Now we're really exaggerating again. Those feelings. Don't crack your ribs right here. We're trying speed out front, and it's all gonna have to be created with the holding of that angle and the release of the body, because you're not doing it with the hands yet, right? That's really getting those two elements for effortless power happening there, the holding of the angle and the release of the hips. Now we need the release of the toe of the club past the heel of the club, and we need the release of the tension. So we're still trying to get the holding of the delaying of the angle and the hips, but now we're starting to soften up those arms and really let that toe of the club really whip past the heel of the club. And you just alternate going back and forth between those two like that. Ooh, that felt super solid. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just not seeing the golf ball right now. Hopefully the camera and the tracer will be able to pick that up. I don't know if it will or not, but you know, from hundreds of thousands of golf balls I hit in my life, I think that one was pretty good. So it felt really good. So I hope that helps you with, you know, the things that we were talking about in that last video. So many players said that was an explanation that made so much sense to them. I wanted to jump in here, make sure that I caught you on this topic while you're still interested in it, and make sure that you're understanding here that if you're only working on the leading with the hands part and the staying down through impact part, you're probably going to leave that club face open. So you really got to work in that release of the toe past the club work in there, and that's how you do it.